From Bobology.com, this is Bob Cohen, helping adults learn how to use technology for fun and profit. Today's topic, Understanding the Cloud, Part 2, Syncing, Cross-Platform Software, Cloud Email, and more.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, let me go on a little bit with a real challenging area of the internet and cloud usage, and why the sooner you got on a cloud, sometimes the better off you will be when it comes to things like synchronizing data. Okay, computers are not real smart. You can look at the way I have my name set up on my PC in a contact list, the way I have my name set up on a smartphone in my contact list, and the way I have my name set up on a tablet in a contact list. And you know that this is all the same person. Your brain did a really quick calculation and said, hey, this is the same person. But to a computer, it might not know that Bob is not Robert, or the title instructor is not trainer or Mr., or that there was a typographic error here on the road, on the street. It doesn't know that. So that what happens a lot of times before, if people have not been keeping things synchronized, in the old days we would use floppy disks, and then we started using flash drives. So if we wanted to move information from one computer to another, people might hand us a disk in order to do it. Then they would hand us flash drives. But if you look at a lot of devices like iPhones, for example, don't have a way for you to actually insert a memory card. iPads are starting to, but not older models. So moving data from one device to another and keeping data in sync can be a problem. So you might have duplicate contacts, for example, depending on what you were using for your contact application, and whether that contact application was keeping the data just on your PC, or whether just on your smartphone, or just on your tablet, or whether you were using a cloud service already and it was getting synchronized so you didn't have duplicates. That's why that happens with people sometimes. Now, the way to get away with making life simpler is if you use a master copy of something. In 10 years ago, our desktop computers were the only computer we had usually. Apple came out with the iPhone in 2007. Laptops became more popular than desktops about 5 or 6 years ago. But most people had one computer, and it was their desktop. And so that's where the master copy was. Some of you may remember a device called a Palm Pilot. And a Palm Pilot was something you carried around, so you could carry your contacts and phone numbers with you. But whenever you wanted to update the information, you had to take it, plug it into your computer, and do what was called a sync, right? And if you didn't sync, the data would be different. Somebody changed their phone number, and if you looked it up on your computer, you'd call that number, it would be disconnected or wrong, and then you'd say, oh, that's right, I updated the number on my mobile device, but I never synced it, okay? And that's why data becomes out of sync. What has happened is that the cloud, Apple, Google, Microsoft, and others give you the ability to keep a master copy of something in the cloud, and that so that when you make a change on any one device you use, it's updated in the cloud. And then when the other devices are connected to the internet, they will synchronize and receive updates automatically. So it makes it easier to keep everything the same on every device. Okay, businesses use the cloud for more functions than just this, but a lot of it started out with businesses, and it became more affordable to the point where companies like Google and Apple and Microsoft offer it for very little cost, if nothing at all, to consumers like us. Now, the other thing you can do is share with URLs. Okay, if you use Google Cloud or Apple Cloud or Microsoft Cloud or something like Dropbox here, you can actually have a file folder on your computer, and then you can share a file by sending somebody a URL. Because your file is in the cloud, it actually has a web address, and you can share that address with somebody, and then they can get access to the file to download it. Or in some organizations, you can actually, in some applications, they allow you to give people the ability to collaborate on documents so that people can view copies of a document. Microsoft, which is really big in companies and organizations, gives people the ability to collaborate on documents so that people that have access to it can not only read it and download it, they can also edit and change it as a team. And so that's something that even as individuals we can do with the tools that are available to us. Just a way for sharing something. Okay. Now, we aren't traveling on airplanes much right now, although some people are, but it's a common situation where you might be offline. Offline is when you are not connected to the internet. Now, you can pay to get connected to the internet, but let's say you're hiking in a national park, or you're camping and you're offline, you don't have an internet connection, and you make a change in a document or something like that. Well, most of the applications now know that when you're offline to store it, and then when you get back online, they will synchronize the data automatically. And this happens with email accounts lots of times, so that if you write an email and you're not connected to the internet and it doesn't get sent, when you get back connected to the internet, it will sync automatically. It will share that data so that you can send emails, receive emails, and share data. So just important, remember that you're online means you're on the internet. And if an application is working right, it's syncing. Okay. Webmail and email get confusing. If you have the ability to access your email from a web page, you have a mail account that stores your mail in the cloud. Your mail and folders are stored in the cloud. You just have a local copy of them. And most every email service does this now. AOL, Yahoo, Gmail, Outlook.com, which is what Microsoft changed Hotmail to, iCloud.com. If you're using a Office 365, you might have what's called an exchange. And there's a type of mail called IMAP, Internet Mail Access Protocol. That keeps a copy of your mail in the cloud. It's like that master copy. And all it does is it duplicates the mail on your smartphone or on your desktop, and so that you can have it accessible to you on that type of device. A POP email account does not synchronize, and some people may still have POP email accounts. If you have sometimes the old email accounts like AT&T or Verizon or Spectrum, sometimes old email accounts like that are POP email accounts, so that you know you've got a POP email account if you receive an email on your phone and you delete it, but then when you go back to your desktop, it's still in your inbox, then you know you've got a POP email account. But if you have any of these other types of accounts, you've got an email account that synchronizes, and even if you lost your phone or your laptop or it broke, you could still get access to your email from a web page and you could still restore it. But that's a web cloud-based service. We don't think of mail as a cloud service, but it really is a cloud service when we're using these types of mail. Now, let's talk about how do you make your technology life a little bit easier. So this is a term called platforms and devices and applications. And some of you have decided to make your life harder, and some of you have decided to make your life easier, but you may not have known that was a decision you were making when it came to technology. So this is where I like to help people, try and straighten that out. A platform is a foundation on which applications and services can be built. So platforms consist of the hardware and the operating system and the applications and any add-ons. Those of you that are big Microsoft Word users or other users, there are add-ons that like Microsoft lets people add on to applications, and some applications have add-ons that you can buy. But this is called a stack in the technology world. And so you're either using one platform or another platform. And the platform could be a desktop, but that doesn't tell you what platform it is, or a laptop, or a tablet, or a smartphone. That doesn't tell you what the real platform is. That tells you just physically what kind of device you got. What really tells you what it is whether you're using Windows or Mac or iOS or Android or even Chromebooks. Now, it's another type of platform. These are operating systems that run on specific types of hardware. Applications will work on either one or multiple platforms. And if they work on multiple platforms, they're called CrossPlatform Software. So that I'm a Mac user, but I also have a Windows 10 operating system as well. But I can use Microsoft Office 365. I can use Word and PowerPoint and Excel because Microsoft makes these applications available not only for Windows, they make them available for Mac and iOS and Android so that you can use it on any platform you want to, which makes it easy to get to information. Because if you have a file that you want to get to that's a Word document and you have it stored in some cloud somewhere, you can open it up as long as you have Microsoft Office installed on whatever platform you're using. So cross-platform, Chrome is a browser, for example, that works across platforms. But Apple makes a great word processing tool called Pages, and they make a notes tool called Notes, but they don't make them available on Android or on Windows. So that you'll find that some companies make a software that only works, like the Video Producers Club uses software called Power Director. Power Director does not make a Mac version of the software. They do make an iPad version and they make a Windows version, but it's not available on the Mac. Whether they decide to do it is probably going to depend on customer demand at some point, but you can open up a file made in Power Director on iOS, in your iPad, or on Windows. And so you can do editing on a file either way. And that's why they make it there, okay?